Today I'm going to show you how to build a PXE Boot Server appliance that's portable between networks. It's sort of plug and play, so that all you have to do is plug in the network cable and suddenly PXE Boot services are available on that subnet. It's zero configuration because it doesn't have any fixed IP addresses, but zero configuration should use multicast DNS, and this is actually using NetBIOS message block naming. So it builds on DNSmasq, which can proxy the DHCP part of its service to the real DHCP server on your network. So you don't have to mess with that. You can just plug this in and it does extra stuff. Now I said you didn't have to type in any IP addresses, but this would be the ideal entry for this, sort of defaulting to the to the network card EN01. Unfortunately that doesn't work at the moment, so you have to define every subnet in your organization that you might want to go and plug this appliance into. You can put as many of these in as you want. So that's DNSmasq. Samba down here just defines the interface that it's supposed to be listening onto. That's the wired one and that's the wireless. And the other thing that Samba provides is the naming. So there's the NetBIOS name, server 1. Not a very good name, but there's a story behind that. And you can give it aliases too if you want. So again, no IP addresses in here. Once a system boots, the first thing it does is, if it's UEFI, it goes into grub, and this is the grub menu. Windows installers do a chain load, so there's no IP address there. But if you were installing Mint or Zorin or something like that, you can define PXE default server, which is what DNSmasq has passed over as the next server, or the location of future files. So again, no IP addresses in that. Following on with the Windows installer, it chain loads iPXE, which DNSmasq recognizes. iPXE then asks for a configuration file here, which it gets sent. Here it is. Again, no IP addresses in this, but it uses DHCP option 66 to get the actual IP address that of this system, which contains these files, which it uses to start Windows PE. So again, no IP addresses there. Now that's for UEFI, and we adopt this the same as Mint does, using UEFI and with grub, and Legacy with pxelinux. So pxelinux has a slightly different menu, but again has a variable which is next server, which is actually the right name of the DHCP option. So it picks up all the rest of the files using that. Then once we go back to the Windows WinPE startup. Once that starts, it runs a file called startnet, and startnet initializes the network with WP init, but at that point name services, NetBIOS message block services are not available. In fact, the interface is not. This doesn't work like I thought it would. This, on the other hand, waits for the interface to get to be up, and then continues. After that, it does a ping. Now, without IP config, what would happen is it would come down here and ping the server, and immediately it would say I can't resolve the name server 1. In my case, it repeated it 169 times before it was able to resolve it. So IP config stops all that sort of garbage on the screen. once it finds it, it just mounts it from Samba. So that's all there is to a PXE Boot boot server appliance. Now what I'll do is, if we've still got time, I'm just going to show you what happens when you boot a UEFI machine. Always more interesting. No, it's a separate machine, it's not a VM. I like to use separate machines because they're more sort of real world. But anyway, it's kicked off, booting the grub. It's now I can see it's displaying the menu. So this is actually the wiping menu, so I'm going to go to the imaging menu there, which is the file I showed you up here, and now I'm going to tell it to do a Windows installer, which is the more interesting iPXE thing. There it is. Oops, it's gone. So it sent over a class iPXE, and that was recognized by DNSmasq, and eventually it sent over the configuration file up here, and WinPE is now starting. And the next thing to do is it will run StartNet. Okay, so that's all there is to setting up a PXE server appliance that, as I say, is you can use anywhere on your network without interfering with any of the other network infrastructure in the network. Actually, typically DHCP, DNS, and things like that. I hope you enjoy, well, I hope you find this useful, and I hope you find the actual PXE Boot Server appliance even more useful. Cheers.